Hey YouTube, how's it going? Yeah, that's right, I'm still alive, I'm still in existence, and I still actually know how to work a camcorder. How about that? Anyway, yeah, that's right, I've been, once again, over a week since the last vlog, and it's ridiculous because in that one I do believe I was talking about getting back to doing things on a daily basis. Well, I think maybe I might be able to manage that now. I've got something I'm starting up. I have a series of goals, and actually this covers a wide range of things. It starts with something simple, like, well, theoretically simple, like getting my house cleaned up. You know, all the stuff that collects over the winter that you don't bother with because you don't want to take it out in the cold and all that, and so on. The kind of thing that I should have done back towards springtime when the weather first started warming up. Yeah, and see, here it is, I'm waiting until the weather's getting ready to start cooling off. Isn't that special? Anyway, I'm going to be starting to work on that. Let's see, oh, as an interruption to that, there was something really cool this morning. I looked at the weather radar and this is what I saw. And I got my hopes up big time because I was expecting all that mass of rain to come right down here to where I'm at, and it didn't. Because this is the latest weather radar picture taken just before I started recording. Yeah, it got close and it just started to break up and dissolve. However, I'm still hopeful because the forecast is calling for rain, thunderstorms, and whatnot tomorrow. So let's hope that that actually happens. I certainly hope that it actually happens. It will cool things down, at least for the day. Anyway, speaking of cooling things down, the temperature has dropped some, as in the daily highs are in the low 90s now, instead of the high 90s peaking up over 100 occasionally. It's not a whole lot of progress in the right direction, but it is progress in the right direction, so this is good. Another goal I've got is the posting of videos on the gaming channel on a daily basis, and occasionally 2 videos where possible. And I'm going to be working on that. Towards that today, I have an FTB monster planned, and I'm also going to see if I can get some Skyrim recorded. That may or may not be posted today, but I'm going to get some recorded anyway. And of course, more mod sauce. In other news, the adventures of Testicles Alden and Tinfoil Chef on EVE Online continue. I am reaching a milestone, however, an event horizon of a sort, because when I started using Tinfoil Chef, I spent the in-game cash and got myself a Plex and used that Plex to enable Tinfoil Chef to start multiple character training, which means I could have 2 characters training skills at the same time. That is going to run out in about 2 or 3 days. When it does, I will reach a point where I'll have to choose and decide which of these 2 guys gets to continue training skills. The other one will have to pause skill training. So we're coming up on that in another couple of 3 days. I have another goal, and this one is probably rather ambitious. Now, longtime EVE players will look at this amount and say, well, nah, you come up with that in a few days. Yeah, well, maybe for a long-time experienced player with a lot of inside knowledge and whatnot, corporate resources to bear, that they can bring to bear on it and so on, maybe so. However, for me, I've never achieved this. And the goal is to raise 10 billion disc. Now, when you think that, now I know a lot of people think, well, 10 billion, that's an awful lot. Well, not necessarily in EVE Online. When you, especially when you figure that a Plex, which you can buy on the website for 20 bucks, sells in-game for about 800 million. You can figure right there that that's one way you could come up with 10 billion, and it wouldn't take a whole lot of time or effort or resources to do it for those that had the real world cash they could spend on it. I don't, and so I have to come up with it in game. And the way I've been doing that is a variety of things. Number one, I spend a lot of time mining. And so far, mining has actually been the best ISK per hour that I can come up with, which isn't so great. On a good day, 12 to 15 million per hour. And that means spending a fair amount of hours doing that. Another way has been planetary interaction, which is a setup where you put down colonies on planets and use them to manufacture materials which you can then sell. I'm starting to get that figured out. The trick there is coming up with the right things to have them manufacture and process them into tier 2 or tier 3 materials. It's coming up with the right things to do with that is the trick. And I'm sort of kind of beginning to get there with that, but not really. It's not enough to actually consider it a viable passive income just yet. And then of course there is running missions, running combat missions. It has the advantage of being a lot more interactive. You're actually doing a lot more and so on. And therefore it's not as boring. But the problem there is that when you're limited to level 2 and level 3 missions, the most benefit you're going to get from those is the grind for standings with certain corporations and or factions. And so it's not a really big ISK generator. Missions don't generate a heck of a lot of ISK from what I've read and what people have told me until you get up into the level 4 missions. And I'm not ready to do that yet. I tried a level 4 once, not too long ago. I got totally and completely blapped inside of a minute. And that was the ship lost, let's see, that was about 50 million for the hull, and about another 20 million for the fittings and weapons and ammo and all that stuff. So, no, not looking to repeat that anytime soon. So I'm going to be working on that. Current net worth is about 422 million. That means that I have 18 days to take that 422 million and make it into at least 800 million so that I can get one Plex to continue keeping the account active, because that's how I do that. I raise in-game cash, buy a Plex, and use that to buy game time. That way I don't have to spend real money on it. That's cool. Raising one Plex is actually not too big of a deal. Raising 2, that's a lot bigger of a deal. See what I can do about doing that though, because hey, I want to keep doing, I want to keep going. I want to build up to this 10 billion ISK wallet that I'm thinking about, and then go from there to 100 billion and 1,000 billion and so on. It's an ongoing project and it's going to take a while, but I'm going to keep working on this. And one of the things that this is going to do is give me a little something that I can do in the way of daily updates, or maybe every other day updates, depending on how fast or how slow things are going. Anyway, that's the state of things right now. If any of that made any sense, congratulations. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Mr. Tinfoil Chef.